Hi, this is John with Flat 6 Motorsports, and today we're taking a look at the sole performance non-valve performance exhaust system for the 992. So in the box is actually a lot of things. Something that Sole always does is they include an install guide and also a packing list that you can see is checked off here for good quality control, but also includes the various steps you'll need to know for the install in color, so it's nice to have those. They also include a microfiber with their signature satin finish, which is kind of a glass beaded finish. As you're installing it, it'll get some marks on it, so you just use a little WD-40 and microfiber that's provided and wipe it down nice and good before you use the car. Also included in the box is all of the system, the hardware you'll need, and various clamps you'll need to install this exhaust system. Sole Performance is a United States-based manufacturer of exhaust systems. Now they make them for a variety of sports car and exotic application, and they also back their parts with a lifetime warranty. So nice if you ever have an issue. They're here in the United States, just outside of Philadelphia, and include that warranty with all of their exhaust systems. Now this specific system is a full replacement system, so it's optioned either with street, 200 cell HAS catalyst, or a competition link pipe, and the whole thing gets replaced. It's a non-valve system, so the total weight of the system relative to the factory muffler and cats basically drops about 6.5 pounds. And the construction of the system is very nice. It's got about 1.6 millimeter tubing, and that's 75 millimeters, so a full 3-inch system. This is the first 3-inch system we've tested on the car, so we're excited to see what it does power-wise. In theory, it should flow better. A very simplistic system. It just comes off the turbos into these link pipes. It has a chamber that helps with reducing drone under cruising conditions. And then under max flow, it's just gonna go through this X pipe and out through the exhaust tips. And again, this is a full 3-inch system. There are 2 resonators here as well that we think will calm the vehicle down under just normal driving conditions. As I mentioned earlier, this is a valveless system, so whether you have PSC or you don't have PSC, you're gonna either unplug your actuators, and it can be tuned out so that you can just delete the actuators, but if you don't have a tune, they do provide these brackets, so you're just gonna bolt the actuators to those. This is a valveless system, so it only has one sound. And so this system will fit all Carreras, including the base S GTS, and they also have a version equipped for the turbo as well. Now this reuses the factory tips, so any tip configuration will work with this system. So let's get it on the car, see how it sounds. Installation of this system is very straightforward. It's kind of a remove and replace technique of the factory system. We do have a detailed video showing you how to install an aftermarket exhaust system for your 992 Carrera. Check the link below if you want some further information on that. Now the dyno made really impressive results. While the Peak only gained 3.3 wheel horsepower, it did pick up 17.5 foot-pounds of torque, but the big story here is in that kind of low mid-range between about 3,400 RPMs and 4,300 RPMs. It's picking up 31.4 wheel horsepower and 34.2 foot-pounds of torque max. All right, so we're in the 992 Carrera and we have the Soul Performance valveless system. So this is a non-valve system, of course. So it's gonna be a little louder than a valve system, as there's only really one way for the exhaust to flow. When you go to sport mode though, it will make a little bit audible change with the sport programming. But overall, it's actually not as loud as I thought it would be. It definitely has more volume, and I'd probably compare it more to one of the valve systems with the valves open. It's still very tolerable. I'm cruising at 69 miles an hour right now. Just a slight, existence of sound. It has a slight resonance and kind of a bassy tone, so when you're kind of under a little bit of load at a high gear, some of the build quality plastics in the 992 have a little bit of vibration, but it's still very tolerable. I think you could have a conversation easily on the phone. Certainly if somebody was in the passenger seat, I would not consider this a loud exhaust for cruising. Actually surprisingly very comfortable, given how aggressive the 3-inch full exhaust is from a design standpoint. It sounds really great ripping it. It just, the car works really well with it, and it just has a nice exotic tone to it. Nice mix of turbo and depth. And again, this is the 200 cell system. So I've been driving this back and forth to work. I have a fairly short commute, so for me, I think it's absolutely tolerable. It's probably a little bit close to that edge, I would say, for a lot of consumers, if it's a car they're gonna daily drive and have a longer commute, or if they're very mindful of their neighbors. I would say this is a little bit louder. I'd say, again, it's right towards that edge of probably what most people would want in terms of idle, cruising down the street if you leave early in the morning, that kind of thing. But it still isn't offensive, I don't believe. And I don't think you're gonna wake anybody up by driving by. It's just, there's gonna be a little bit more presence of sound. And it's gonna be a little bit louder than other systems that have valves on them and can get a little quieter. And we have the 200 cells on it now. We're actually gonna head to Daytona to the track and swap out for the competition link pipes, because these have unique set of either 200 cell or competition style links that come off them that don't work with the OEM muffler. They only work with this exhaust only. So we're gonna go to the competition ones, and we'll come back and give you some impressions with maybe a little bit more rowdy and turned up of a version. We also dyno tested the competition version, and that had better gains, particularly up top. Picked up a peak of 17.4 wheel horsepower and 23.2 foot-pounds of torque. But again, the story remains true here in the low and mid range. It's picking up significant power gains where it makes a max of 33.6 wheel horsepower and 39.4 foot-pounds of torque. That's incredible out of an exhaust system. So you're gonna see real world gains with this. So I hope you got a really good perspective total of this Soul Performance exhaust system, both with the 200 cell or the competition links. Overall, a very impressive system, performs very well. If you're interested in this particular system, we'll have the link in the description below. Please check that out. And if you have any exhaust needs, check out flat6.com. We have a host of 992 solutions, and we'll be coming out with a lot more videos in this exhaust series that'll highlight different exhaust configurations. So make sure to subscribe if that's of interest to you. Thanks, and we'll see you in the next one.